It started as a simple question. Not a rumor about a sighting. Not a leaked photo. Not even a dramatic moment caught on camera. Just a quiet shift in how people were beginning to interpret everything they had already seen. What if the connection between Soo Kai and Tan Songyun was not what it seemed? What if it was something designed? The idea did not come out of nowhere. It grew slowly, almost invisibly, built from a pattern of moments that felt too perfectly timed. A shared appearance here. A subtle interaction there. A rumor that rose just as a new project gained attention. At first, fans celebrated these coincidences. They felt organic, exciting, almost cinematic. But over time, a different perspective began to emerge. One moment stood out more than others. It was during a major fashion event. Cameras flashed, reporters called out names, and celebrities moved across the red carpet in carefully styled outfits. Soo Kai arrived first, composed and confident, answering questions with his usual calm energy. Minutes later, Tan Songyun appeared. The timing was close enough to raise eyebrows, but not close enough to confirm anything. At the time, fans saw it as coincidence. Now they were not so sure. Clips from the event showed both stars reacting almost in sync to photographers. A shared glance. A subtle smile. Nothing obvious, yet enough to spark conversation. That clip alone circulated for days, gathering millions of views. It brought attention not just to them, but to the event itself. That was when someone asked a different question. Who benefits from this attention? The theory of strategic marketing began to spread. In the entertainment industry, visibility is everything. Projects succeed not only because of quality, but because people are talking about them. When two popular actors are linked, even loosely, it creates a narrative that audiences follow. That narrative keeps them engaged between releases, interviews, and promotional campaigns. And Soo Kai and Tan Songyun were two of the most talked about names. Fans began revisiting older moments with new eyes. There was the airport sighting, where both arrived within minutes of each other. At the time, it felt spontaneous. Now, some wondered if it had been planned to spark conversation. Then came the Gucci fashion show, where they appeared in the same frame, without directly interacting. It created mystery without confirmation, exactly the kind of ambiguity that drives engagement. Even the wedding moment, where a brief hand contact was caught on camera, started to look different. Was it an accidental gesture, or a perfectly timed scene that would travel across the internet within minutes? Each moment, when viewed alone, could be dismissed as coincidence. But together, they formed a pattern that was difficult to ignore. The idea of strategy grew stronger when industry insiders began sharing their thoughts. One anonymous public relations consultant explained that modern celebrity promotion often relies on storytelling rather than direct announcements. Instead of saying something clearly, teams allow audiences to build the narrative themselves. Because when fans create the story, they become more invested in it. That perspective changed everything. It meant that even silence could be part of the strategy. When rumors surfaced about Tan Songyun possibly visiting Soo Kai's drama set, neither side confirmed or denied anything. The mystery kept fans talking for days. When Soo Kai's manager responded to relationship speculation, the statement was careful, neutral, and open to interpretation. Some fans saw that as protection of privacy. Others saw it as controlled ambiguity. Then came the necklace rumor. A piece of jewelry believed by some to be connected to Soo Kai's family appeared on Tan Songyun during a public event. The reaction was immediate and intense. Once again, there was no confirmation, no explanation, just silence that allowed the story to grow. At this point, the question was no longer about whether the connection was real. It became about whether the connection was being used. Fans began to split into two groups. One side believed the connection was genuine, and that any perceived pattern was simply the result of two people existing in the same professional space. They argued that the entertainment industry naturally creates overlaps, and that fans were turning ordinary interactions into elaborate theories. The other side believed something more deliberate was happening. They pointed out how each moment seemed to arrive at the perfect time, often aligning with promotional cycles or major public appearances. To them, it felt less like coincidence and more like careful timing. The most fascinating part was that both perspectives could exist at the same time, because strategy and reality are not always separate. It is possible for a genuine connection to be amplified for attention. It is also possible for unrelated moments to be framed in ways that create the illusion of a deeper story. One particularly striking scene came from a behind-the-scenes interview recorded months earlier. Soo Kai and Tan Songyun were seated side by side, answering lighthearted questions. Their interaction felt natural, filled with easy laughter and relaxed conversation. At one point, Soo Kai made a small joke, and Tan Songyun responded instantly, as if she already knew what he was going to say. Fans loved that clip. At the time, it felt authentic. Now, some wondered if moments like that were part of building a narrative that audiences would later recognize and connect. Even their individual responses to rumors began to feel meaningful. Neither denied anything strongly. Neither confirmed anything directly. They stayed in the space between where curiosity thrives. That space is powerful, because it keeps people watching. Late one evening, a media analyst posted a thread that quickly gained attention. He broke down the timeline of major moments involving both stars and compared them to key promotional periods. The overlap was not perfect, but it was noticeable enough to raise questions. He ended the thread with a simple statement. Sometimes the story is the strategy. That line stayed with fans, because it captured exactly what made the situation so compelling. Whether real or strategic, the connection between Soo Kai and Tan Songyun had become a story that people could not stop following. It moved beyond individual events and became something larger, a narrative shaped by moments, reactions, and interpretations. And that narrative had power. It brought attention to projects. It increased engagement. It created emotional investment. By the time the discussion reached its peak, the original question still remained unanswered. Was it all just coincidence? Was it carefully designed marketing? Or was it something real that simply benefited from the attention it created? No one could say for certain. But perhaps that uncertainty is exactly what makes it work. Because in the end, the most successful stories are not the ones that give clear answers. They are the ones that keep people asking questions. As the debate intensified, a new layer of analysis began to emerge, one that moved beyond fan theories and into the mechanics of the entertainment industry itself. People were no longer just asking whether the connection between Soo Kai and Tan Songyun was real or strategic. They were asking how these narratives are built, how they spread, and why they are so effective. A veteran entertainment editor gave an interview that quietly shifted the conversation. He explained that modern celebrity promotion is rarely about direct messaging anymore. Instead, it thrives on fragments. A glance caught on camera. A coincidental appearance. A carefully worded response that answers nothing directly. These fragments, when placed into the public space, allow audiences to connect the dots themselves. And once audiences start connecting dots, they rarely stop. He described it as a feedback loop. Fans notice something small and begin discussing it. That discussion increases visibility. Increased visibility brings more attention, which leads to more interpretations, more theories, and more content built around the original moment. Even if the initial event was unplanned, the reaction becomes a resource that can be amplified. Looking back at the moments involving Soo Kai and Tan Songyun, fans began to see how perfectly they fit into this cycle. The rumored set visit created mystery. The manager's response added legitimacy. The necklace speculation introduced emotional depth. Each event fed into the next, keeping the narrative alive without ever needing confirmation. What made this even more intriguing was how both stars continued to operate as if none of it existed. Their public appearances remained focused on work. Their interviews stayed professional. There were no dramatic shifts, no obvious attempts to lean into the rumors or shut them down completely. That consistency made the entire situation feel balanced, almost controlled. Then came another subtle moment that reignited discussion. During a recent live event, Soo Kai was asked about maintaining focus in a noisy industry. He answered calmly, saying that staying grounded means knowing what truly matters and ignoring unnecessary distractions. It sounded like general advice, but fans immediately connected it to the ongoing speculation. Was he indirectly addressing the rumors or simply speaking in a broader sense? Around the same time, Tan Songyun shared a short post reflecting on the importance of privacy and personal space. Again, nothing specific, nothing direct. Yet the timing felt too close for fans to ignore. The idea that both might be responding indirectly, without ever confirming anything, added another layer to the story. At this point, the conversation had evolved into something more complex than simple rumor tracking. It had become a study of perception. How much of what people see is real, and how much is shaped by the way it is presented? How much meaning is placed onto small actions simply because audiences are searching for it? Some fans began stepping back, questioning their own role in the narrative. They wondered whether they were discovering something hidden or creating something that was never intended. Others embraced the uncertainty, enjoying the mystery without needing clear answers. What remained undeniable was the impact. Whether strategic or natural, the connection between Soo Kai and Tan Songyun had become one of the most engaging ongoing stories in recent memory. It demonstrated how powerful suggestion can be, how silence can carry weight, and how audiences can transform scattered moments into a continuous narrative. In the end, the question still stands. Is it all part of a carefully designed strategy? Or is it simply a real connection that exists quietly while the world watches too closely? The answer may never be revealed. But perhaps that is the point. Because as long as the story remains unresolved, people will keep watching, keep analyzing, and keep asking the same question. And in the world of entertainment, that kind of attention is more valuable than any confirmation.